So this is a place I will not be checking into. I will just keep on driving by, not stopping here, not checking in. I will sleep in the car if I have to, at a rest stop, maybe with hitchhikers. No, that's also a bad idea. All bad ideas. But anyway, yeah, just not stopping for this motel and moving on. But what is going on in this motel that's so bad? Let's see if the IMDb plot can fill us in. 10 true crime obsessives invited to the opening weekend of a newly renovated Cold River Motel, the site of a 30-year-old unsolved satanic mass murder. History repeats itself when the guests start getting knocked off one by one. Yeah, certainly. I mean, certainly if you're out for a drive, you might not know the history of a hotel or motel. And yeah, you end up staying there, and then that's the end of you. So always know where you're going. Anyway, so this is a recently released series on Shudder. It's been out for a little while now. I just kind of a little behind on this one. Finally got through it, and so while some of you might have already seen it, I will still, obviously there's twists and turns in this one, and obviously a big the reveal of who the killer is here, or killers, whatever. Is so I'll leave all that out. I don't want to get into that. We'll save that for you guys to watch if you still haven't seen it. I think the summary kind of covers it all. Early on, you get this group of people. They are true crime people. Each of them kind of has their own stories. One's actually an actress. She's kind of had her time already in the sun there. As a final girl and so forth, and trying to kind of hang on to her career. Then we've had a very odd one, a woman who's gone around trying to sleep with serial killers and I guess run up her score there, which was kind of interesting. And amongst several other people that are kind of involved with true crime in one way or the other. And like it says there, they get invited to this motel by these two women. They're a couple. They're reopening the motel, and they kind of have it set up in a very certain way. They have certain rooms dedicated to the events of what happened there. Certain things to intrigue certain members of these true crime people that are here. And they have things planned for the weekend, and those plans go out the window when people start dying. And obviously this causes all kinds of chaos. Everybody's pointing fingers. We meet an older couple that I guess was in a camper, and they were kind of stranded, and they get involved in everything. So it is very you get episode by episode. And basically, as it goes along, at least one person is dying per episode. And like I said, it's a lot of finger pointing and this and that. Who's there? Who is it? What is happening? And, as it goes on, you kind of get filled in a few more, ideas of what went on 30 years ago at this motel. And about the killer back then, and obviously that has a tie to what is going on here and in the present. So I guess what to say else about this one is it is very kind of similar to the slasher series that we've recently seen, that they did. A couple, I think, on Shudder, and then I think, also it ended up on Netflix or vice versa. I don't remember which way it was. It seemed very much kind of like that, just a different version of it, and basically setting it in the motel. So I think, that's kind of the starting point. If you enjoyed that series there, the slasher series that they had previously done, I think this might be something you enjoy as well. It's just, it's just almost kind of the very same thing, just set under a very specific circumstance here, with the motel and so forth. And I don't know if this is one off, if they'll do, more of these in a different motel or whatever. I would doubt it. I would assume this was a one off. But it is just, as you watch it, it's just very similar. Every episode someone dies, have a group of people trying to figure it out, who's the killer, pointing fingers. Obviously it's slasher themed. You'll see the slasher here. He's got his own costume. Yeah, pretty creepy looking, not bad. Uses different kills every time. Some of them have certain meanings, whether it's to the victim or to, for the killer himself. It can be very brutal, very violent. We get some good blood and guts, so I enjoyed that, of course. So if you're kind of looking for a slasher series and you like kind of trying to guess who the killer is and whatever, this one's certainly for you. Like I said, if you like the slasher series, and I don't see why you wouldn't like this. The characters here, I don't know too many of them if I recognize them. From a lot of things, I think maybe one or two here and there, but I don't think there's anybody that was, except for what is his name? Let me see if I see him. The guy from Will and Grace, yeah, Eric McCormick. He's obviously stands out, and I think he did some. I don't know if he was in one of the other slashers or he did some other horror thing recently. I can't think of it off the top of my name. It's kind of weird to see him do Will and Grace and then all this horror stuff. Anyway, on point here. He's obviously one of the ones it kind of stands out. But otherwise than that, I think, not knowing, a huge cast of characters that were too many of them kind of stand out to you kind of helps kind of keep, who the killer is hidden, because sometimes you have someone you recognize and you're like, okay, well, they must be the killer because what else are they doing here? And in a way that sucks, and I hate when they do that. They bring back someone and you're like, hey, I know that person, and then later they're the killer. Like, of course, because I know that person. So it's better when you don't know. So overall, I didn't think that hurt the acting. That everybody was fine, and so forth. Maybe a few are a little bit better than others, but on a whole, it wasn't to the point you couldn't watch or anything. Everybody did a fine enough job with that. And I guess they do present, I guess nothing tremendously new as far as this cult and whatever happened 30 years ago, but a decent enough story. And obviously, like I said, the killer here, he's got a pretty good costume here, a little intimidating. Kind of also reminded me of what is it? It was American Horror Story, or maybe a spinoff of that. Nothing coming off the top of my head today. Of the kind of like that demon that was kind of in all that red gear, kind of looked rubbery or whatever. I don't know. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it looked kind of similar to that. But yeah, that was kind of fun. But anyway, yeah, you see that like I said, it's got some crazy characters here. Like the girl who likes to sleep with serial killers. That's kind of crazy. In itself, and I think you have a couple other people here, and kind of as it goes, it's another one of these things where you learn a little bit about each one of these true crime people as it goes along, and you'll get it kind of maybe flashing back to certain things of their life that kind of play a point in where they are here, why they're here, and maybe their possibilities of them being the killer. Some of them, again, a little bit more crazier than others, and some you'll get a little bit more detail than others. So it's all about you kind of piecing it together. I will say I don't think that I tried really hard to figure it out, because I don't think that I was going to. It's just kind of obviously as it kind of gets closer and closer, you're kind of like, okay. And obviously, as a horror fan, you know that there are other tricks and whatever, and you're always kind of wary of, oh, are they going to pull this on us, or are they going to pull that? I'm not going to say specifics because I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it. But, there are the tricks of the trade there of where they can, whether it's the obvious or maybe not so obvious. So I don't think I tried to dive too much into it. I was just kind of more kind of guessing, okay, this is the episode, and seeing, how this person is involved and how this person is going to die. Or whose time was up. Obviously, as the cast kind of shrinks, it's obviously more obvious who's going to die. But I think I really enjoyed the slasher series, so I enjoyed this as well. Obviously, because it's a slasher-like thing, and I enjoy slashers, and again, the parts that are very violent and get some blood and guts in there. I enjoyed. So I think with this one, I think I'm just going to go 3 pools of blood. I don't think they did anything, huge. And it was an interesting ending, and it was a fun ending. Like a little bit of twist and turn. But obviously, again, once they've killed off most people, it shrinks the surprise of who the killer could be. But I still think, it was a decent ending to it. And so forth, and they did a pretty good job overall, but nothing hugely earth-shattering or hugely different here. So I think that's kind of why we'll stick with 3 pools of blood, and that is out of 5. So yeah, and definitely do not stay. We get a 0-star rating for the motel. 0, just don't stay there. Bad stuff. So with that, horosquarereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews, written and videos, certainly tons of video reviews for quite a while now. So you can like and subscribe and do everything else that everybody wants you to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries, is okay. I thank you for your time regardless, whether it's here, on social media, at Promote Horror, wherever it is. I thank you. Again, Twitter, Facebook information down below. Feel free to reach out, talk about this series. Horror, you want me to review something, that's fine. Feel free to reach out there, and definitely in the comment section, your thoughts on the series. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy, did you compare it against the slasher series? Did you like it more or less, and so forth? Feel free to comment down below. So with that, I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.